Welcome back to The Watch. And we hope you've all been watching because
Things have been happening.
Yeah, it's gotten interesting, isn't it? You would think that Lucasfilm, with one of the biggest budgets ever for a film, might have made something at least somewhat watchable. Apparently not.
Right.
Apparently they can't even market this.
Right. So today we're going to be talking about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Now, I didn't actually watch this film because I was working on something else that day, but you did.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about it. Did you like it, love it, hate it?
I hated it.
Okay.
There's so much wrong with it, and the more you think about it, the worse it gets.
Well, it's interesting you say that because when you first came in and I asked you how was it, you said,
Well, here's the truth of the matter, okay? I've been to Rise of Skywalker. Was it Rise of Skywalker? And watched Last Jedi and all that sort of stuff. And those were horrid.
Oh, yeah, because they destroyed everything.
The last thing that came out from Lucasfilm was Willow. So, our standards have been down here. I'm not just expecting something bad or like mid. I was expecting something atrocious.
Right.
And so when I went in and I was like, okay, that wasn't as bad as I thought.
Okay. Yeah.
But the more I think about it, compared to the other originals, it still wasn't good. However, despite all this, people aren't going to see it.
Well, there's a little bit of context to this because they're not. That is true. But they're also not going... So first off, we'll talk about some other movies. First off, we had The Flash come out recently. The Flash is also doing very badly at the box office.
Yeah.
There was also another one which I haven't been too interested in, but it was... I can't remember if it was a Pixar or DreamWorks.
DreamWorks one, yeah.
Elemental, that's also doing...
that Pixar one.
That's doing terrible. And now we've got Indiana Jones, which is also doing terrible.
Yeah.
So... It's interesting because The Flash flopped. I will like to think that The Flash flopped because of how terrible the main actor is. Yep. Because they're destroying the Snyderverse and it's not leading into anything. So people are refusing to watch it. That's what I'm hoping in my heart, Nathan. For Indiana Jones, I'm also hoping that people are not watching this film because it's terrible. It's bad, But there is that seems to be going a bit of a trend.
Yes.
At the moment.
Well, it's funny, right? Because I feel like we haven't heard from anyone yet, but whenever these big businesses, these big global conglomerates come out and say something, it's usually, cinema is dying, or since the pandemic, things haven't been as well. But then when you go back to like when the last Avatar movie came out, or when John Wick came out, those movies made money.
Oh, yeah, they did very well. So
I think you've got two issues here. One, your movie is way too expensive. Like, I watched this movie, and I think the thing that burnt the most amount of cash was the CGI for young Harrison Ford.
Right.
I think that was the thing that... Because everything... Also the fact that everything was like done on a green screen. Or they went to the airport, and you could tell it was fake.
Yep. It's interesting you bring that up because movies are getting even more expensive, but on the flip side, they're looking worse.
Yeah.
So he went to see Indiana Jones, and I didn't see it. Then I went to see Flash, and he didn't see it.
Yeah.
The CGI in Flash was terrible.
This was very much the same.
Oh, I bet you. I reckon the Flash is worse.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because at least they hit it, but the fact that it was Lucasfilm, the guys basically invented CGI. I was expecting a bit better.
So I think we've got the issue of films costing
way too much
money. And then on top of that, people are just... I'm not going to go... Movie ticket prices are getting more expensive. And I'm not going to go spend $20-$30 to go watch a mid film.
Exactly.
I'm just not doing that.
And I think people don't understand how strong, or these studios, how strong word of mouth is.
Oh, yeah.
Because what they do a lot of, and we see this every single release, is they will shield. They'll get all the shills to say good stuff, but no one listens to them. Yeah. They'll be in their own little bubble, but then all of a sudden, when they look at the box office tickets, they go, we're not making the amount we usual because all the regular people aren't listening to those people.
Hey, Nathan, have we ever got like an early release ticket or anything
No.
like that? No, it's funny, isn't it?
We never get any early premieres for anything.
When you're honest about things, people don't like it, do they?
No, they don't. They don't. And so I feel like the way that they market this, it made me so mad. So I'm subbed to the Star Wars YouTube channel, not out of choice, but out of making sure we're aware of things that are going on now. The week before this came out, nothing Star Wars.
Right.
For nearly the whole month, I would say, it was all indie. It was the weirdest thing where they were like, welcome back to the Star Wars channel today. Indiana Jones. Indiana Jones this. And I was like, doesn't... And the views were so low for those videos because it wasn't... They don't know how to market their stuff.
Well, I would say it's a bit of a blessing because I don't want Star Wars to talk about Star Wars.
No.
Because they're terrible at it.
It's also a curse for them to talk about Indy and bring Harrison Ford on and have him do these cringy interviews. Like, the way that they market these films now, it's so corporate and it's so tick box of like, okay, we've got them on Hot Ones, we've got them on this thingy, they've done a wide interview, whatever else they do. But, like, we don't actually have any genuine... places. I'm trying to think of the way of saying. So you have all these basically marketing domes that they go off and pay people to say how good the movie is.
Yep.
But the actual places people watch and listen to reviews, like here and many other channels and other personalities that will talk about reviews, are not saying very good things. And if they are saying things about it, they aren't necessarily, it's an awful, terrible movie. If they give a review, they're like, it was okay. It was mid. It was... Like, they're not saying anything good. They're not saying, go watch the film. It's amazing.
I see a lot of these like reviewers who get all this early access stuff. As soon as they come out the film, they'll film a review, and it's very much like, "Oh, I just liked it. I liked this thing that happened." Blah blah. And then when it comes to anything negative, it's like, "Oh, but I think it was just a bit shaky here or something like that." And they just gloss past like giant swaths of the film, and you're like, "Okay, no." But enough of that. Let's talk about money. Money. So, at the moment, it's made about $60 million domestic for Indiana Jones. $60 million. And about $70 million from international market at the moment. And this, according to this article here, they would need to basically make 5.5 times more. Yeah. Just to cover production value, not even to turn a profit.
Yeah. Which
is then you got marketing on top of that.
See, my other thing about this movie, I wonder how much they paid the actors to come back one last time.
Right.
Because there were a lot of...
like Harrison Ford's old.
Harrison Ford, but you have lots of the other older characters who've come in.
Yeah.
I wonder how much their paychecks were worth, and that's why they spent nearly $500 million on this movie.
No. They probably wouldn't be that much. Like, let's say Harrison Ford makes the most amount of money on this film. Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to throw random numbers out right now. Let's just say he makes $50 million. That's still not $500 million.
It's not. But then also you have all the CGI stuff, you have the revisions.
Yeah, exactly.
Also the retakes, reshoots. Like, this movie is expensive. I think it would have been cheaper had they done it good the first time, before the test screenings.
I forgot about that. Yeah, I forgot there was reshoots.
Yeah, they did lots of reshoots. Like, there were parts completely cut. Me and Shad noticed. Like, in the trailer, there's a part with the boulder where the girl stops the boulder. Not in the movie.
Oh.
They removed it completely.
Oh. Was it like a John Wick 4 type thing? How it felt like things were...
Missing. Or no, it didn't feel like it in the movie, but having watched other material, we were like...
Things are actually missing.
Yeah, I was like, that wasn't... It was one of those things where, Marvel, they'll do different trailers, and then you watch the movie, and you're like, that wasn't in the trailer because it was a trailer thing. That's a bit different, but I just feel like so much money was burnt on this.
And also, over the weekend was the 4th of July for Americans. And you Americans are pretty big on that sort of stuff. So it was supposed to take in somewhere around 80 million. And I guess the numbers aren't out for that yet. Sorry.
Well, yeah, it was only like a day or two ago.
2 days ago. But we'll have to wait and see how much it takes over the 4th of July weekend in the US. But I don't think it's going to be around its projections.
This is such a dark time for Lucasfilm.
Oh yeah,
my heart is crying.
It's funny because
so much.
You mentioned it before because we reviewed the show Willow. They literally removed it off Disney Plus.
Yeah,
like even if that series was just like getting in 1,000 views a day, something super duper low, that's still 1,000 views, and they would rather just
take it off. Yeah, take it off. The costs are too much.
Yeah.
Which is absurd to me. They're doing it with other shows too, but like, such a sad, sad time. Now, they've ruined Star Wars. They've ruined Indy. Is there anything left for us to be concerned for?
Well, they ruined Willow.
They ruined, Willow.
That wasn't one of ours, but that was one of Shad's.
Like, I'm just thinking, because this movie's bombed.
It's
going to be like the whole Han Solo thing now. They're like, oh, we're not going to make any more Star Wars movies because Han Solo didn't do very well. This indie one didn't do good, so thankfully we're not going to get a sequel with the main girl lady.
That's true.
That's true. So,
just like the National Treasure.
yeah, they cancelled it before season 2.
Yeah, just like that. That was another one. I really like that one.
So
not the show. I like the National Treasure movies with Nicolas Cage. I like those.
I don't know what's going to happen from here. They could double down and just keep making trash and keep blaming other people for the problems that they're having.
Right. Because Disney's been in a bit of an issue with money lately. And like park attendants, stuff like that. Things haven't been going very good for them.
No.
And a lot of things, like what was it, the other one? Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
That also didn't go well. Like it didn't do it didn't do apocalyptically, but it still didn't. I don't think did it make money in the end?
I think it still made money in the end, but it had issues in other areas as well.
Oh yeah, but I mean, not making money is the biggest repudiation of something.
And it's funny as well because we talk about all these remakes and sequels and stuff. And when Bob Iger came back into power, his main thing was like, we're going to focus on sequels and established IPs.
Yeah.
And now we've come out with sequels and established IPs and they've all bombed.
Yeah. I think
now what?
The only thing that actually did pretty well was Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah. But that is in context for the last previous Marvel movies, which like Ant-Man didn't do good either. If you compare Guardians 3 to 2, it's very different.
This is all
also
accurate.
No more Guardians, apparently. Like,
oh yeah,
that was the last one.
But yeah, Disney's been it's been having a bit of tough go of it. I feel like this is finally all its chickens coming home to roost. Do chickens roost or is it roosters?
They do. Chickens roost.
Don't roosters roost?
I think they all roost because they're just
I'm sorry.
that species.
Somebody will tell us in the comments.
Yeah, please correct us, keyboard warriors.
I feel like they're finally reaping what they sowed. Like it's finally catching up to them. People aren't watching their movies because it's a lot of, like you said, it's been a lot of Disney films this year that have been doing not good. And I think there's still more to come.
Oh, there is, and it's not just with their movies; it's with their TV shows, with their parks. Because what they're doing is they're firing people from their parks, which means less employees to manage stuff. They make things more expensive. They're taking away rides and rewards, and basically you're killing your economy and business by people going, this isn't good value, therefore I'm not going to do it.
I'm very interested to see, because I think I don't know what the next Disney thing that'll come out is, but I know the next Star Wars thing is Ahsoka, right?
Yeah, that's the TV show. So
I'm very interested to see how that performs.
I think, this is my predictions, everyone. Write down your predictions in the comments. That Ahsoka will do well out the gate, but over time it will dwindle, much like Mando, I think.
Right.
And I think the same...
But Mando took like years to dwindle because they took so long between seasons.
Yeah, exactly. That's going to be the issue, I think, with all the Star Wars stuff, is they take so long to make it.
Yeah.
Then we can start a discussion about like Star Wars TV and how that's not what it should be. Maybe another video, sure.
No, I don't want to talk about it.
But yeah, I'm just saddened. Do you know why? Because I remember whenever stuff like this happens, I remember a quote from George.
What was it?
Which after episode 3 and after doing Clone Wars, he said, I'm going to sell the business because there's people that work for me and I don't want... He didn't want to be making his own things and failing and people being scared because George, what are we going to do next? Yeah. And so he thought, I sell it to Disney. They've been safe with Marvel. You know, he did it because he was like, this is the... To him at the time, it was the right thing to do.
Contextually, yes.
Yeah, he's like, I want this to be okay. And now that he's looked and just feel sorry for all those Lucasfilm employees who were like, we're going to get fired.
Oh, yeah.
We're screwed. Like, none of these movies... At least with George, we had good turnouts for, like, every movie. Now, you can't even...
It's crazy how, like, all these Disney properties in the last, like, 10, 11 years have gone into the earth.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have taken straight jumps.
It's funny when you get rid of certain people, especially at the top, who are in charge of these things and know how to do stuff, or you bring in new policies and agendas for things, suddenly it doesn't work out anymore.
Yeah. It's almost like... It reminds me of the debate, like, should you hire a fan to do these sorts of jobs? And it harkens back to our conversation about Henry Cavill being fired for things, who was a fan of the things that he does.
Yeah.
And he was fired, by all accounts, because... they're not being accurate to law.
And I want to caveat that, like, you shouldn't just hire any fan. I think you should hire fans with experience or talent.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's completely fine. Because I think one of the things that people always say after that is like, oh, but if they can't write, they shouldn't do the thing. It's like, yeah, but, like, don't get J.J. Abrams to make a Star Wars movie if he's not a fan, or Star Trek.
Or Ryan Johnson,
Or Ryan Johnson.
Yeah.
You're opening wounds again.
I mean, I'll say it. J.J. Abrams isn't a fan either.
No.
He made Rise of Skywalker, bro. Get out of here. That's any fan who makes a film that nullifies all of George Lucas's work is not a fan. I'll say it.
And I mean, I feel like we're stuck in this point in time where everything's failing. People aren't being fired or moved. People who are going to be fired are going to be the little grunts at the bottom who are the easiest to get rid of. But the main issues, like Bob Iger, like Kathleen Kennedy, like all these higher ups who are basically steering the ship, and who they'll have probably analysts being like, it's because of this reason right here that's really oblivious. You should do this, and they'll be like, no, that can't be the reason why. That's not the reason why movies are failing. And then they're just going to drive it into the iceberg, and then we're going to have another...
They've already hit the iceberg,
They've already hit the iceberg, and now they're just...
But before we finish off, let's finish off on a more positive note. I want to know, what's your favorite Indiana Jones film? What's your favorite one? I think ours is actually the same.
I have to... It's a tie between Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Last Crusade.
Last Crusade for me.
The only reason I can't say is because I had Raiders on DVD and I've watched that movie a bajillion times. I didn't have Last Crusade, but I'm sure if I did, it would be my favorite. That's the only reason why. But
I also... I mentioned it so long. I probably like in the trailer reaction, but I also like Crystal Skull. Everybody's allowed to like their bad films. I like Crystal Skull, all right?
You know, a funny thing though? I feel sorry for Shia LaBeouf, okay? Because in both Transformers and Indy, he's died off screen. Both times, and they've just in the movie been like, oh yeah, he's dead.
Oh, yeah. But what was it for you? Raiders of the Lost Ark for you, and The Last Crusade for me.
Yeah.
Our favourite ones. Leave them down below what yours is.
If you said Temple of Doom...
It's... yeah. Okay.
That can't be... You can like it. Just it's not your favourite.
Yeah.
Really? It's your favourite?
Fair.
Your favourite?
But thanks for watching, guys. And as always, stay on watch.